So I'm going to summarize everything that you just covered in modules 1, 2, and 3. I think it's helpful to have a 10,000-foot view after you've gone through a lot of detail. So let's just talk about everything that you just covered. You went through how to work through a module, and I highly recommend that you follow all of the recommendations there. And then the materials went through what you will be equipped with: an understanding of the background and philosophy of Simply Music, the ability to talk about Simply Music with some really helpful scripts, how to teach the Foundation Level 1 curriculum, and how to set up, market, and manage your studio. How to teach the content, and this is the curriculum content. And so you learned about how we teach the basics, which just very few basics before our students are ready to start learning songs. And then you learned the first two songs, Dreams Come True and Night Storm. And you really do need to go through the teaching materials as well as the student home materials. You got an overview of the entire curriculum, and this was the chart that showed all of the different programs that we offer in our core curriculum. Now, I have a few points of clarification that I would like to make on that chart. The three core curriculum components, I want to make sure that you're super clear on this, are the foundation programs, levels 1 through 9, the development programs, which are levels 10 through 18, and then this array of special programs. These are all required core components of the Simply Music curriculum. This chart can be a little bit misleading with the arrows. It implies that, for example, composition and improvisation can be started in level 1 and then it continues on and on and on, which it does. That is true. However, some of these do, although they are assimilated into the students playing, they kind of do have an ending point as far as the curriculum that we actually teach. So that's what I wanted to clarify. Arrangements. Once you've taught all the arrangements in arrangements 1, you've taught them and you're done. Accompaniment 1, these are concepts that students will continue using throughout their lives. However, the concepts taught in this particular program have a beginning and an ending point. And so then beyond that, they're just assimilated into their subsequent experiences. Same with accompaniment variations. It kind of goes along with accompaniment 1. Blues and improv, that is something that you could spend the rest of your life exploring. Reading rhythm has specific concepts that are taught. Of course, then they are assimilated. You use them throughout your reading life. But the program itself does have an ending point. Same with arrangements 2 and arrangements 3. Just like arrangements 1, there's a finite number of songs in those programs. So once they're learned, they're learned. As with reading notes, a finite number of concepts taught, and then it's assimilated into their experience. And Time for More Music is the first exposure that we give our students to learning from the sheet music. And so there are, I think, 8 or so songs in that book, and they learn the songs and then they have completed that program. So I just wanted to clarify that, for example, in level 7, yes, you have all of, several streams that you are teaching, but some of them are just part of their experience now, like reading rhythm in level 7. You've completed the program, they're just utilizing those skills. In Jazz Clues and Accompaniment 2, those are some more advanced concepts that, those will continue. The next was our first core conversation, which we call the relationship conversation or the long-term relationship conversation. This is a gold mine right here. And Module 4 will address when to introduce this conversation into your classes. And this will be an ongoing conversation. We'll be coming back to that really, really important conversation. In the next section, Neil addresses when you can start teaching. because you don't necessarily have to get through all 10 modules before you can start teaching if you don't want to. But you do need to have a few things figured out and in place. So I'm just going to run through those real quickly as a summary. You need to have decided on your fee structure and what you're going to charge for tuition, whether you're going to have late fees and that kind of thing. You're going to need to have your studio policies in place. You'll need to have your administrative details worked out. So how are you going to keep track of your income and expenses and all that kind of thing. Logistical considerations, meaning where are people going to park? Do they have a restroom that they are able to use? You want them to take their shoes off. You need to have a clear understanding of how students are to purchase their materials, how they link to you as a teacher, and how to help them through that process. And of course, you need to be comfortable teaching at least the first couple of songs. And the foundation session and relationship conversation, those are conversations that happen in the first month. So they're big conversations, and you need to have developed a level of comfort being able to deliver those. Okay, after that, you got to see the introductory sessions, and these are so important. This is a wonderful marketing tool, and not only that, I know for me and for most teachers, this is a requirement. I found this out the hard way, that if I enrolled students without having them come to an introductory session first, the expectations were out of whack. They didn't know that this was going to be a really different way of approaching learning and approaching piano lessons. And so sometimes I would lose students in the first month of lessons because it just wasn't what they thought it was going to be. I strongly encourage you to follow the script of the FIS as Neil delivers it. I'm sorry, I said FIS. A lot of teachers use that as an abbreviation, an acronym for free introductory session. So if I say FIS, I'm talking about the introductory session. And I want to make sure that you know it's okay to use some written material during the introductory session, because there's a lot of material to cover and you don't want to forget any. I am providing you with a few templates in this lesson that you can use, like an outline of the topics to cover. Neil has mentioned in the training that you might want to put a little chart up on the wall that just has some letters for each section. That will be a memory jogger for you, and I have provided you with that as well. And lastly, in these 3 modules, you got access to the design suite. It's a zip file. And this has all the logos and artwork that you can use in your marketing materials. Of course, you need to consult the manual and only use them as dictated in that manual. Just as an example, you got to be careful resizing any logos or branding, because we don't want it to be distorted. There's also business card templates that you can take to your printer, stationery and envelopes, postcards, and a flyer that you can customize with your own studio information. So in a big nutshell, that's everything that you just covered in modules 1, 2, and 3. And I want to make one point that I'll probably keep repeating throughout, because it's really important to remember this. It's a process. There's a lot of content here, and if you feel overwhelmed by it, just know that everybody goes through the same process, and the more you deliver this content, the easier it is to do, the more you'll make it your own style and deliver this content with passion and with conviction.